Hi there. Welcome into Action Time. This one is tailored for race fans in general and late model stock fans in particular. It was only a short time ago that the Rebels invaded Yankee territory with a brand of excitement all their own. A door-to-door, go-for-broke, rip-it-up style of racing that demanded recognition, and they got it. NASCAR races have set attendance records across the country. Well, on today's show, they do it again at Michigan International Speedway in the Motor State 400. Names like Bobby Isaac, Richard Petty, David Pearson, the Allison brothers, Pete Hamilton, plus many, many others, represent the cream of NASCAR racing. Well, you take drivers like these and put them in the fastest late model stocks in the world. Turn them loose on a wide, smooth 2-mile oval, and you suddenly have all the ingredients for a great race. And such was the case with the last go-around at Michigan International Speedway. Michigan International Speedway, the twice-a-year Yankee home for the Rebels from NASCAR. It's a 2-mile oval with the turns banked 18 degrees. But compared to the high-banked super speedways of the South, it's a flat track. And these boys from below the Mason-Dixon line run tracks of all sizes, surfaces, and speeds. In short, they love to race and run for a jam-packed crowd wherever they go. The NASCAR season opener at MIS is appropriately called the Motor State 400. With all drivers aboard, they followed the pace car out of pit row and onto the track. Bobby Isaac was the fastest qualifier in the Dodge Charger 71 and starts on the pole. Richard Petty had the second fastest time and starts on the outside in the familiar 43. In the second row, it's David Pearson in the 21 Mercury with Bobby Allison in the Chevy number 12 alongside. Joe Frizon and Donnie Allison share the third row. The tension in the grandstand builds as the pace car leads his 40-car field around on the parade lap. Leroy Yarborough is in the fourth row in car 45, a Mercury, and Richard Brooks starts on his side in the Ford number 90. The green is out, and they're off. Pole sitter Bobby Isaac explodes into the lead as all cars enter turn 1. Petty is second, Pearson third. In the third turn, Petty goes high and Pearson slips under him, and Allison starts to charge. At the end of the first lap, Bobby Isaac has the lead with Pearson and Allison fighting for second. David Pearson puts wings under that Mercury and flies past Isaac on the back chute to take over the number 1 spot. Now it's Pearson, Isaac, Allison, and Petty. This race is only 3 laps old, and already the crowd is up and screaming. The Dodge number 2, driven by Bill Seifert, drops down low on the apron and heads for pit row. Bill complained of a bad vibration. When the car was checked out, they found broken suspension parts and parked it behind the wall. Entering turn 3, Richard Petty is on the move as he passes Allison on the low side to take over third. Now Richard has his sights on Bobby Isaac and begins to close the gap. On the front chute, Petty stays in the low groove, passes Bobby Isaac, and moves into second. The Plymouth 9, driven by Pete Hamilton, makes an early pit stop for right side rubber. He's changing to a harder compound tire. There goes another early casualty. Joe Frizon heads his number 18 into the pits with a blown engine.
With oil on the track, the caution flag is out. Now watch the cars pour into the pits. '43, Richard Petty. '71, Bobby Isaac. The Wood Brothers Mercury, 21, David Pearson driving. '88, Ron Keselowski. All cars are out except one. Joe Frizon climbs out of his Dodge, and they park it behind the wall. Petty and Allison lead the field out on the fourth turn and down the front chute for the restart, and Richard takes over the front spot as they go into turn one. On the long back straightaway, Bobby Allison screams his Monte Carlo underneath Petty. Now the Coca-Cola car has the lead. Bobby Isaac decides to play too. He goes to the high groove behind Allison and on the front chute passes Petty to take second. Richard goes from first to third in about a half a lap. The back straight here at MIS is long and wide. They can really wind those engines. Bobby Isaac does just that and passes Allison to grab the lead in the third turn. Petty also passes to go back into second. Richard wants that lead and charges Isaac on the front chute and takes it back in the first turn. Richard may have the lead, but there's a hot trio right behind him in the form of Isaac, Allison, and Pearson. In the fourth turn, Isaac and Pearson close on Petty. They both take him on the outside in front of the grandstand. Donnie Allison can wait no longer and wheels his Ford in for fuel and new tires. Isaac and Pearson are the front runners now. The white Plymouth number 9 is driven by Pete Hamilton. He's one lap down, but it's clearly evident that he can run with the leaders. That's Donnie Allison out of his car and out of the race. They discovered transmission problems with the Ford and parked it behind the wall. Davy Pearson has put his Purelator Mercury into the lead now, but Isaac, Hamilton, and Petty are right on his tail. Another one goes behind the wall. This time it's Dick Brown. His Chevy number 91 develops ignition trouble. Bobby Isaac challenges Pearson in the low groove, and entering turn 2, there's another lead change as the boy from Catawba, North Carolina, puts his Dodge 71 in the front spot. Uh-oh, it looks like Isaac may need tires. He slows up and drops down on the apron. This move puts Dave Pearson back in the lead. There he is. Race leader Bobby Isaac pits, and crew chief Harry Hyde and the boys go to work. Just as Isaac goes back on the track, Petty pulls in. These tires are getting a little raggedy. Most of the field will be pulling in during the next few laps to swap them. Petty and Pearson are out. Bobby Allison is in. After all cars pitted, the leader is David Pearson. Petty is second, Isaac third, Allison fourth. Going into the fourth pocket, Bobby Isaac kicks his Charger hard and slams past Petty. This makes him number 2. Both cars are trying to close the gap on race leader Pearson, but he has a good quarter of a lap lead and trying for more. That's the end of the story for Leroy Yarborough. His crew checks the Mercury over, finds a bad push rod, and Leroy drives it into the garage area. The second caution flag of the day comes out on the 106th lap when car 64, driven by Elmo Langley, pops a valve and stalls in the fourth turn. Once again, watch this pit action. It's fast and furious. Pearson leads him down for the restart, but Allison has a ton of acceleration in that number 12 Chevy and fires past David to take the lead going into the first turn. Bobby's front spot is short-lived because Pearson has the big Mercury wound up now and dives down low to regain his lead. Petty follows Pearson through the hole to grab second. Bobby Isaac has made several pit stops for suspension adjustments. Finally, Harry Hyde and the crew give up and park the Dodge behind the wall. Pete Hamilton in the Plymouth number 9 is running in front of Pearson. However, he's one lap down. This was caused by an unscheduled pit stop early in the race for a slashed tire. It was a bad break for Pete because he certainly proved he can run with the leaders. He finally pits on the 158th lap with engine failure and goes out of the race. As they close down on the checkered flag, Pearson is number 1, Allison second, Petty third, with Jimmy Hilton fourth. There's the white flag. One more lap, and Davey gets the brass ring. Here he is down the front chute for the checkered flag, and David Pearson wins the Motor State 400. Bobby Allison claims the second place money. Richard Petty, the pre-race favorite, finishes third. Hilton fourth, and Ron Keselowski grabs the fifth spot. It's an elated Wood Brothers crew that follow their Mercury into victory lane. This represents the 6th major super speedway win this year for the Big Mercury. 2 with A.J. Foyt aboard and 4 with David Pearson. "400 miles, 200 laps, only 12 of which were run under the caution light. In 2 hours, 43 minutes, the lead changed 19 times before the fickle Lady Luck finally pointed at David Pearson. The win was worth $12,935. David said it was hard work, but you'll have to admit that on an hourly basis, the pay is excellent.